What is up, people? Welcome back to the RFN podcast. I am Kevin Lackey, your host, and today I have a total rock star with me. That's right, the young hustler himself, Jarrod Glandt, a buddy of mine who I really appreciate taking the time today. Welcome to the show, Jarrod.
Kevin, I can't tell you how happy I am to be here, not just because you thought of enough of me to invite me on, but because I've had the opportunity to work with you and kind of watch your evolution as a business person, and super proud of where you're at. And so, I'm more than happy to be here and be doing this with you right now.
Well, that means a lot to me, more than you really know. I'm truly inspired by you and what you guys have done, and you. So thank you for taking the time again out of your crazy schedule to chop it up with me here on the RFN podcast and provide some killer content for my listeners. But, so what I'd like for you to do is maybe tell us a little bit about who the J to the G is, the J to the Jizzo, G to the Jizze, right? Is, and what you do, and maybe some background. Because I know you, I know a lot more of your story personally because we have had the opportunity to work together, and you just have a great story, and you have been a huge part of how the RFN podcast came to be. So why don't you just give us a little bit about yourself and your background?
Yeah, so today I'm the VP of Sales for Grant Cardone, and VP in sales encompasses a lot around here. Really, I'm Grant's right hand when it comes to developing strategy and figuring out where the business is going to go. Obviously, we've done a lot of work to get it where it's at today, but, figuring out where we're going to be 10 or 15 years from now is really kind of the phase that we're in, the season that we're in our business. And so, I have a 7-figure income, invest in real estate, and have I make more money in passive cash flow from my real estate investments now than I could have used to dream of making from a primary job. And the reason I tell you that is because it wasn't always like that. It wasn't always the job, the wife, the baby, everything kind of cranking. When I was 21 years old, I had a job selling advertising, was making a bunch of money, and at 21 years old, when you're making a bunch of money, you spend money on stupid stuff, including, going out and parties and drinking and, everything that goes along with that.
It's a consumer lifestyle.
Yeah. And so I ended up in a bad spot for a while. Went to work for my dad in Austin, Texas at the time at a motorcycle dealership, which is how Kevin and I are connected because we share the power sports in our blood.
That's right.
And, So I kind of just fumbled around in life and really wasted probably 7 or 8 years of my 20s just trying to figure stuff out, and didn't have any money, didn't have any confidence, didn't have any forward momentum. I was really just stuck. And my dad I'd moved back to San Diego because I wanted to kind of get out of the dad's shadow because I worked for him always. So I really needed to kind of do my own thing. And he one day knew I was struggling and didn't like where I was at. So he sent me a video of a guy named Grant Cardone. The video on YouTube was called the You Can't Handle the Truth sales meeting.
Yep.
And there was just something about this guy that struck me. And my dad was like, this is the type of thing you need to get involved in. So kudos to my dad for putting that in front of me. And then I just chased Grant down and made it happen. For a month and a half, I pursued the job, got the job. Was answering phones, was customer service, was trying to sell stuff when I wasn't being a receptionist, and really just kind of got locked in and knew that I was in the right spot, and had always had kind of an ownership mindset with the things that I did. And because of that, I was able to constantly see the next place that the business could go, and really assumed the responsibility of the role that would get it there without being assigned that role, if that makes sense. So
absolutely.
So it's like seeing where the business needs to go. It's like seeing the piece of trash on the ground and picking it up because it needs to be picked up, or seeing the thing that needs to be built out, and you need copy to be written for it, but you don't need to wait for the web guy to do it. Like just seeing all those opportunities. And I think that's really what's allowed me to, between that kind of that ownership mindset and really, really disciplined work ethic, I think has gotten me where I'm at. And so I try to paint the whole picture of where I went, because at 26 years old, I just started working for Grant. I was literally 30 grand in debt. And 4.5 years later, with the right content, the right environment, the right information, I was a millionaire. And nothing was ever handed to me, and it's never going to be easy for anybody. But I just think when you start getting a lot of the boxes checked off, that you actually set yourself up, and too few people even get into a situation where they can get enough of the right things happening around them for them to really win. So that's what brings us to where we're at today.
Dude, that is just an amazing, just very high level background, and thank you for sharing that. I mean, there's so much there, and really you kind of touched on a lot of the points that I want to talk about today, around this ownership mindset, where you started at the very bottom, the discipline, not having the confidence and the money. But you said at 21, no direction, 26, you're in debt. 4 years later, you're a millionaire, right? And how old are you today?
35.
Yeah, so 35 years old. So, still the young hustler. I'm not the old hustler yet, but I'm still the young hustler. I want to be a part of that tribe, just so you know. So here, okay, so I asked you, Jarrod, to be a guest on this podcast for many reasons, but I know that I've had to narrow down to a specific topic, okay? Because you only have so much time, and I truly want to provide real value to my listeners. So I'm not doing a ton of just open mic type stuff. I want to get to a very specific topic that I think people can get value from, and it's something that I think about in my organization, because I have a big organization. I don't know, how many people work over at the Cardone offices?
We have about 128 in the office right now.
Yeah, so I've got 350 people, different businesses, and one of the struggles I have every day that I would imagine you guys do, especially when your sole goal is to wake up and pull people forward and to motivate, grow, push them, train them, coach them, make them be the best version of them. At some point, what you do is you develop, rock star people that have different thoughts. So that's why I have this specific topic that I want to talk to you about, which is that you have this, role in this highly successful company. You're the right-hand man to a guy that is a rocket ship dude, right? I mean, he is one of a kind.
Living legend, totally.
He really is. And how do you think about being the right hand to someone that has this big personality, and they don't necessarily leave a lot of room for anyone else to be the front man? And that's not a bad thing. I mean, that doesn't make him a bad guy. That's just who he is, right? But I could be wrong, and that's why I wanted to ask you, am I wrong about that?
Yeah, you are actually.
Okay.
I'll just give you an example. If you think of people in this space, think of Tony Robbins.
Okay.
How many people do you know in Tony Robbins' organization that he promotes publicly?
0.
Think about Gary Vaynerchuk. How many people does he promote publicly?
0. Or
one.
Yeah, him.
He rocks. His camera guy.
Okay, yeah. I don't watch him much.
He's the only one he ever talks about, or his brother. But like but so in our organization, there's a handful of people that stand out. Grant talks. He's let me do the Young Hustlers podcast, and he promotes that, and he's got the sales guys in the back. Mike Bonnet, he talks about all the time, and Dave Robards and Steve Spray. And so I actually think that Grant does more promotion and acknowledgement of the people that are in his organization, because he understands that if he can identify these people that he know are glued to the company, like Todd, our sales director, he's a lifer. Yeah. Steve Spray, he's a lifer. So like when Grant can identify these people and he can flow them power, then it really creates an opportunity for him. I mean, look, like eventually at some point, Grant's not going to be the face. He's not going to be the guy that's the face of the company getting deals done every day.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, he's already shifted a lot of that to me to go out and find deals and do deals and put stuff together. So, I think it's the most intelligent thing that he could do. And what it really boils down to is scarcity versus abundance. And people that perceive attention and people that perceive fame or whatever as a scarce resource will never shine the light on anybody else. People like Grant that view it as something that's in abundance and something that's endless will shine the light. And it also takes somebody who's extremely confident, because Grant knows at the end of the day, he is Grant Cardone.
Yeah, absolutely.
Ain't nobody else Grant Cardone.
Yep.
So he knows that, millions and millions of people follow him, but it's also important that people know who I am and know my role in the company, so that, 5 years from now, as we're starting this global tour this year, when Grant's traveling around, people know I'm the guy that'll get the deal done, and people know I'm the guy to contact for X, Y, and Z. And that's really when I first started, Kevin, people, like, when we were selling deals in the very beginning, these online training deals, like, I had deals that wouldn't even do the deal. They wouldn't agree unless Grant got on the phone. Like, they wouldn't close the deal. They wanted to close the deal with Grant.
Yeah.
Because they didn't know who I was. Grant was still Grant then, but he's not who he is today back then. Today, people know better to even ask. Like they just know I'm the guy.
Yeah.
And so I think that he's done a lot to really bring a lot of us into the limelight when he really doesn't need to. But I also think that it's an incredibly intelligent move, because it gives him the ability to have leaders rise within the organization who can continue on. The goal is that this business is around 50 years from now and 100 years from now, and people are still talking about Grant Cardone and the impact that he had and what he did. And I have an integral opportunity, an integral role in helping get the company in a position where we can actually do that.
Dude, I appreciate you clarifying that, because I actually wrote in my notes, is that true? Just because he has this big personality, I know from watching and seeing, he is constantly promoting people, and he talks about omnipresence, and you guys are a part of that omnipresence, right? His team. And he does have the confidence to, at the end of the day, know that he is Grant Cardone, and there will be another Grant Cardone, but he is giving you guys the opportunity to continue to grow and move that business forward. So, it's funny. I mean, I like to think I'm a guy that is RFN, takes massive action. But like I said, that dude, he's on a different level. I want to ask you a specific question, which is, how has Grant had a positive impact on your life? Like, what's one of the most something that you can go straight to that says this is the most positive impact he's had on your life?
Massive think.
Massive think.
Like the way that he thinks, it stretches you. Massive responsibility. He'll do anything. He'll answer a phone call. He'll throw a piece of garbage away. He'll take a picture. I mean, anything.
Yeah. So he just leads by example. He's the real deal.
Do it now versus do it later. Action over mechanics. There's so many that really, I don't think there's, in rare cases, I don't think there's people that are massively successful that are successful because of one thing. And I think that, like, there are traits that Grant doesn't have that other people have in abundance, and they're extremely successful.
Yeah.
So I think that the collection of traits varies by successful person, but Grant has found a way to take this one thing, this massive activity, this massive concept of massive levels of action, and used it to outproduce and outcreate and what most people would even consider possible. So completely unreasonable in a good way.
Yeah, in a great way. And so, when I was thinking about this podcast, I'm thinking about you, Jarrod, and all that you've accomplished and being a part of that. And I'm just curious, you've had to show up and do the work. Has Grant pulled something out of you that surprised you? I mean, from the 21-year-old dude to the 26-year-old guy to the 30 to the 35. Did he pull something out of you? Because, right, I mean, that's important to be exposed to people that you don't even know yourself what you're capable of. But it's a blessing to have someone in your life, whether it's by accident or you're searching that out, a mentor or whoever, that will pull something out of you that you didn't even know you were capable of.
Yeah. So, I mean, when the circumstances around me, I mean, like when I sold advertising, I worked for Auto Trader and I worked on the power sports side of the business. And I mean, I was the number 2 rep in the country. And I had I had East County in San Diego was my territory. And the gal that was in first place had like the entire state of Georgia.
Yeah.
So like I had this tiny little territory, but I worked really hard. And so for me, I'm extremely competitive, but very humble.
Yep.
Like winning's really important to me, but I don't need to broadcast that I won. I need to know for myself. I'm extremely hard on myself and I'm very critical of myself. But a person can only push themselves so far.
Yeah.
Before, like Grant, you would think like Grant, this guy is this guy can push himself farther than anybody. But then you put him in the gym, he still wants to get a trainer.
Yeah.
So people have the ability to push themselves to their limits. Those vary from person to person. But you oftentimes need somebody to come in like Grant's hard. He's hard on me and it gets more out of me.
Yeah.
Because it makes me feel more obligated to do more. So he gets more out of me because he pushes me. And he pushes me even if he's like thrilled with the results, he still pushes because it's not about, hey, wow, look how great we did. It's about get the most we can. Whether it's the most customer service calls, the most complete product, if it's the most people at a conference, if it's the most value out of a presentation, it's like there's a lot, but then there's like the most you can possibly get. I don't know if that really makes sense, but for me, that's kind of how I look at it.
Yeah, it makes total sense, and I would think that a part of that is because he cares about you so much. People are hard. See, that's one of the reasons why I want to do this podcast. I've got a handful of guys and girls around me that just give it their all, and they beat themselves up. They hold them accountable, and my job is to pull the most out of them, to push them to their limits, and help them see more than they thought they were capable of on their own. Mm-hmm. And I'm hard on them. I'm very hard on them. And sometimes, I wonder, am I too hard? But it's just because I care about them and I know what they're capable of. And I'm the same way. I don't celebrate how many we'd sold on a Saturday. I want to know about the ones that we missed, right? And that's a mentality.
Yeah.
So I think the fact that this massive think, and that he will push you to your limits. People, like you said, need that. Like, I can't go to the gym. I mean, dude, I'm trying my best here. Like, I'm like, okay, but I would need someone if I really wanted to get where I want to be, which I'm not doing. I would need a coach. There's certain things that certain people do on their own. There's guys that can go to the gym without a coach, but they can't wake up and get to work on time.
Dude, it perfect example. Like, it took a guy like Grant to get you to the next level.
Absolutely.
And you didn't work with Grant like I did in proximity, but I remember when you picked up the 10X rule and you read that. I mean, it was like you woke up. You were like, whoa, dude, like you became a monster. Like you were like, dude, this is either the wake up call I've been looking for, or it's the permission that I was looking for to approach everything with this RFN mindset and to really get this whole like ram it idea really grooved in, and it gave mass to it, and it made it something for me. And so I think that everybody does better when they have somebody like that. And so that's why business coaches are important, and mastermind groups are important, and getting a good network of people is important, because all of these people have this effect. If you're making $1 million a year and you're in a room with a bunch of people making $5 million a year, you know, like your think changes. If you're making $1 million a year and you get in a room full of people making $20 million a year, dude, things start changing when you start hearing those conversations and how people are running their business and the decisions that they make. And I mean,
it's wild. In 10 years ago, I wanted to be the general manager of a dealership that did $10 million a year. A few years after that, I wanted to be the owner of that dealership. And then at some point, I realized, okay, I can run 5 or 6 dealerships, run $50 million a year. Today we're at $150 million a year, and I met my partner for breakfast for my birthday last year, and he said, "So how do you feel?" I said, "Dude, I feel so far behind." He said, "What do you mean, dude? You got a $150 million business. Your life is great. You got all these cool things." I said, "Dude, my thinking was so small. Now I'm thinking, how do I get to $300 million in the next couple of years? How do I get to $1 billion in the next 10 years of a year in annual revenue? Also, how do I help change the world?" I did an interview with a guy not too long ago, and I really do feel like that my efforts and the things that I've been exposed to and the learning that I have and being pulled out and pushed by a guy like Grant Cardone, the 10X rule changing my life, and like you said, at one point you think I got $1 million in a deal. I'm the biggest, I've far exceeded my wildest dreams. Next thing you know, you're in a deal where guys are putting minimum of $5 million. You're the smallest guy in the deal again, and then you're thinking, how do I get to the $100 million deals, right?
Yeah.
It's crazy. It's exposure. It's being exposed to the right information, right? And that's so my podcast. That is one of the reasons why I'm doing this. Is I want to be able to bring people information, who are disadvantaged, who never understood what the SBA was, how to go get a loan, how to manage money, what those things mean. That's why I'm doing this, is to help. I started with an SBA loan, a little line of credit at a local bank, and I thought that was like the biggest hurdle in the world. And today I'm like, I can go raise $50 million tomorrow if I really was excited enough about an idea, right?
Yeah.
So I have so one of the things that from an outside perspective, and I want you to tell me if I'm right or wrong on this, and maybe it's not a right or wrong answer, but this is just my perspective. I've watched you now for 10 years or something like that. Your confidence, your skill sets, all these things just grow like crazy. And as an outsider, I see you, Jarrod, as one of the huge drivers at Cardone and all that you guys do. I mean, is that a fair statement to say that you're the guy? I mean, you are going and executing and making these things happen, like you said. And so it's not just one person. It's not like Grant, just because you have a name, Grant Cardone. I mean, the name means nothing until there's action and results behind it.
Yeah.
And you're a huge part of those results, aren't you?
Yeah. Well, like Grant has his superpower. He's got his thing that he's brilliant at. And then he's got things that just aren't his thing. And running and managing people and day-to-day office stuff, like that's not his deal. So, he's a promotion, like anything that anything related to promotion, Instagram, Facebook, videos, like him connecting with people in the public is his superpower.
Yep.
Because he can do it in a way, and he could do it in quantities that most people are not capable of. So what his job is to do is to promote and to create big ideas. And then my job, and then my counterpart, Sherry, She runs kind of the operations side of things, and then I run kind of the sales, biz dev strategy things. So whatever he's not creating in terms of products, like we're looking at. So we have to build a license division and a Cardone Ventures division and a real estate education division and a software division and a whatever
10x
division.
Health, 10x Health.
Yeah, 10x Health System. So like we create like these ideas and concepts. Not all of them are mine. Most of them are Grant's. But it's like, okay, well, what's the market strategy? Where do you go from idea to mechanics? Part of the brilliance of somebody that is a forward thinker is that they don't have to think with mechanics. Mechanics stifle creativity. And so it's important for Grant to be able to operate up here without thinking about mechanics or how to make stuff happen. And then when the idea comes in, then Sherry and I have to figure out how to make it work.
Yeah, he's a visionary.
The operational end of it, and then I figure out the sales strategy for it.
Okay, so he's a visionary, true visionary. You guys are integrators, help integrating everything. Would you say, because this is a part of the podcast that I'm trying to the message, would you say that you found your superpower or your gift, however you want to say it, I think people finding their gift is so important, supporting Grant at what his superpower is. Like, is that a fair way to say that? Like, you have found your gift in supporting.
You mentioned the visionary and the integrator thing. Did you read Rocket Fuel?
Dude, I've been on the EOS Rocket Fuel system for 2 years with a coach, a certified coach out of Dallas.
So like when I went through that book, I was like, so I am an integrator in this role.
Okay.
But at the same time, I know where I have to play visionary. So it's a really interesting thing because when it says, "Hey, you're a visionary," and I'm like, wow, like most of that relates to me and what I do here. But it's like I would definitely say Sherry's an integrator.
Okay.
But when I have to create strategy for, hey, how are we going to take this product to market? How are we going to, what's going to be the theme of the landing page? Who are the target personas? Like there's more. So it was really weird when I was listening to that because I'm like, man, I feel like I should be the integrator, but I'm listening to the visionary and I'm like, man, like the majority of that list is what I have to do because Grant is doing it on a much higher level. So, I don't know, man. I get in where I fit in,
Dude, I think, it's interesting you talk about that because so I have today for this coaching system that we're on, every 90 days we have these rocks or, these goals that are due to our leadership team. And I am trying to continue to separate myself as the true visionary of our company. And my COO feels naturally that he would roll up into the integrator role because right now I'm playing visionary and integrator, and I really want to just go be the visionary. And my corporate controller is kind of also has a lot of skill sets that would be that integrator role. And my COO is thinking, I have some visionary skill sets, some integrator skill sets, and how do we really get out of our own way to go do what we were born to do?
Push the one down and focus on
Yeah, so that's interesting. So let me see here. I've got some another question here. So you jumped in at Cardone at the ground level, nothing to lose. I mean, not really, right? You might have had another job, but you jumped in, all in, feet in, be the receptionist, take out the trash, nothing to lose, and you've worked your way to this top spot. Has there ever been a time in the past, or maybe right now, that it's hard to ignore this? You guys have this motivation message, big skills, go big or go home, entrepreneurial mindset. You had 10X Growth Con, all these speakers, they talk about be your own boss, be the CEO, entrepreneur. Do you have a hard time yourself ignoring that, taking all these things in the message, or are you just completely confident in where you're at? Like you said, you got lifers, you're thinking about the next 10 or 15 years. How do you ignore that message that's used on social media and stuff? The
entrepreneur thing.
Yeah, right? It's overdone.
Like how how in an environment that promotes the entrepreneur so hard, how can you be an employee?
Yes.
Is that kind of the question?
Yes.
Yeah, that's the direct way to ask that question, right?
Yeah.
In an environment, it's the tough way to ask the question, right? Because it's like, dude, hey, you're with a guy who's talking about go out, crush, grind, and make the biggest amount of money, make the most amount of money you can, be as successful as you possibly can, try to have everything. And the entrepreneur has become the sexy thing to promote. But what happens if I'm in a job that allows me to be entrepreneurial? And what happens if I'm in a job where I get paid better than 99% of most CEOs? What happens when I'm able to use that income to go be entrepreneurial in different areas? Like I have a real estate business. I'm an investor in real estate. That's an entrepreneurial activity for me. I'm a lead investor in a financial fintech app, a peer-to-peer lending app. So like I have entrepreneurial things that I'm doing, and I'm entrepreneurial in this role every single day. So for me, I think that people are disillusioned by what entrepreneur really means. The definition is like somebody who takes on a bit more risk, financial or whatever, to try to do something. And I think that I take risk on every day. I take risk on when I create a JV partnership, and it's my responsibility to get it launched and make it successful,
Yeah. So you have that. And that's one of the important messages for me. I think that people need to be looking. One, it depends on the cycle in life in which they're at, maybe their age, what skill set do they have? Is it a good opportunity for them to go to a place that they can learn, really, really learn? But also, it's all about leadership, right? Grant is a hard driver, but he's a great leader. He's pushing you to be your best. He's showing you a way to be great. And it doesn't have to just come from this one flow of income, which is what you do at Cardone, right? He's educating you on how to master that in some way. Like, man, like things don't happen overnight. Get rich quick doesn't happen overnight. So get in, do a great job here, and then I can help show you other ways to make money that are passive, that doesn't take too much time and focus away from your main flow of income, right?
Yeah, but it all starts with like getting into a role and not waiting for direction on everything. Like I didn't wait for Grant to tell me to do the majority of the things that I've done in this role. Like I didn't wait for Grant to be like, hey, yo, you need to do this. Like I show up and I operate. Like I show up and I move forward. I show up and I'm trying to find the next thing. Like I show up and I fill gaps.
Okay, so that raises a good question then. So at what point do you go do all these entrepreneurial things and you have this these passive incomes? They become more than what your opportunity is or your time for Grant, where you're going, man, like Grant requires a lot out of me. What if I was just taking these things that and that you can do on your own, right? Yeah. And go do it and make twice as much money or make the same money, but you don't have to show up every day. I mean, how does someone ignore that?
Dude, that's a really valid point. And I can't tell you for sure because I'm not in that role now. All I can tell you is that this job is more to me than just money. I think we really are doing amazing things here. Like, you are like, bro, like you have changed so much. Like you have done so much. And if, you had all of the ingredients inside of you, but you needed a catalyst to break through it. And we were able to provide you with that catalyst. And then we're able to provide you with a tool that allows you to grow your business and gives your people the same opportunity to have that catalyst within your organization. So for me, like I'm trying to position things, dude, I want to make 10 times the money outside of this business that I do in the business so that I never have to worry about money. Like that's my goal. I like for me to get everything I want out of this one company that, if I want to make $20 million a year, like this company would have to do some like,
major growth.
Yeah. But for me to make 20 million, if I leverage what I have in this primary flow and I go out and I start investing in real estate deals, and I invest in this app over here, and then I invest in this company over here, and my buddy and I partner on this thing over there, and I'm still doing here, still like grinding away, like knocking out money. Our company's continuing to grow. I continue to make more money every year, and I have all these assets and these collaborations and these JVs and these things that are working on my own. Like, I'll never leave.
Yeah, you're a lifer. You love it.
I love working with Grant, and I love what we do, and I love his mission, and I love his passion, and I want to help people do better. Like it's always I fault on the side of trying to help people too much. I always go to that side of things. Like, I'm really drawn to be philanthropic, which I hope to be in a larger way one day. For me right now, I'm trying to get my own stuff right so that I can go out and position myself that I can be overly generous. And I donate to charity and do all that kind of stuff now. But I want to use this for everything it can be. And for me, it's more than just money.
It's a platform.
Imagine, you have power sports in your blood. Like, if you had to go and sell like IT services or something, or health insurance, dude, like, you open your door in your office right now and look out. You can smell the rubber from the tires, and you can hear somebody in the service department that just cleaned the carb on a 2-stroke, rapping out a 2-stroke, rah, rah. And you're just like, it just makes you excited. You smell the gas and the oil mix, like it gives you something that fuels you.
Yep.
And I think that when you can find that, it's really hard to walk away from that, because it's more than just money that drives you to do what you do, and that makes what you do so fun and so exciting. It's because you're excited about it. If you put somebody in who hated motorcycles and hated people, like, they would hate the power sports business. If they liked to play tennis and that was their thing, dude, they would hate the power sports business. They would hate the bike nights. They would hate going to the track. They would hate all of that stuff, because they're like, it's not tennis.
Yeah, they'd like the bikini bike wash. That's about it. Everybody all agrees the bikini bike wash is cool.
Everybody loves a bikini bike wash. But that's what I'm saying. My point is just like when you find something, when you find the thing you love doing, and it sounds so foolish, if you're not in a situation where you're making money, right? Like, for me, I understand the importance of money. So if you were like, hey, would you do it for free? I'd be like, dude, I wouldn't do anything for free. I wouldn't work anywhere for free.
Yeah.
But if I had to do something I loved and make shit money, or do something I hated and make a lot of money, I would go do the thing I hated and make a lot of money until I didn't have to do what I hated anymore. And I'd go do what I love. Because I understand how valuable money is in terms of facilitating choices and options and allowing you to have whatever lifestyle you look for. And that's important for me.
So, man, I love that message. And I think there's just a lot there that people have to figure out on their own, right? Because it's a concoction, or it's several ingredients that makes it worth someone's time to stay and do something they love. You can't do it because you love it for free. That's not good advice. You can't do something that you love and make good money, okay money, or a lot of money, but be in a poor environment, poor leadership, or whatever, right? You want to be exposed to people who are going to push you, pull you forward. You want to be able to do something that you love and make money. And like you said, if the opportunity to make money today in something that you may not love, but to sacrifice for some period of time that will allow you to put yourself in a position to do the things you love maybe later, that's important. And so I think, what advice would you give someone out there that they think right now they need to quit their job? Say they love their job, they love what they do, they love where they're at, they make good money, but they're so over inundated with this message of be your own boss, be the CEO, be an entrepreneur, that they're sitting there kind of hanging on the cliff of, man, I think I need to go for it. I need to go on my own. And that may be the riskiest. Maybe they're not qualified to be running their own business. Maybe they need someone to be pulling them forward and to be pulling the most out of them. But what advice do you give someone on how to work through that process in their mind?
Yeah. So, for me, it seems like it's a lot easier to find somebody who has an idea, who's proven it out in its early stages, and who wants to blow it up. For me, it seems easier to go jump on that, ride that wave, and then get to a point where you really have freedom and choices. Like if Grant blew me out today, dude, I got passive income. I got $500,000 in the bank. Like I'm good for a little bit. Like I can figure out what I really want to do. 9 years ago, when I started, I couldn't do that. I was in a position of being forced to do something because I had to. So I think that, there's different routes for people. Some people need a route where everything is it's a threat. They're in a threat position. Like that's how they perform best when they absolutely have to, and they're getting evicted and kicked out. And some people's greatness lives in those moments of severe threat. And then other people, like me with Grant, dude, I came in and I knew that I could add enough value in the right situation to become a partner of the company. And so for me, like the company does better, I do better. Like I was able to find a guy who had a great idea, a great product, and some momentum. Like he wasn't a startup. He had been in business for 25 years. The business was doing $2.5 million a year because it wasn't built to scale. And so we had just kind of gotten a product built that could scale. And then we scaled that. And then that got us to a level. And then we scaled that and then we scaled it again. And Grant and I work amazingly well together. And because we both push and we both want more.
Y'all are
so
10X.
There's different paths for people,
So do you think then, and I know we got to wrap up here shortly, but so do you think that, do you believe that people should be looking at themselves in the mirror and really evaluating, have they mastered, are they putting in the effort, do they have the discipline to really, to go work in an organization that they believe in, that is a positive environment, but to say, I'm going to go climb that corporate ladder. I'm going to go from being on the sales floor to the CEO. But that is a real opportunity. People should be thinking, in my opinion, first, look yourself in the mirror and ask yourself, are you really doing all the stuff? Like I see a lot of people who want to jump ship and go do their own thing, get in their own business because that's what they think they need to do to make a bunch of money when they haven't done 25% of what is required of them today to maximize their opportunity. Like I'm like, dude, if you can't do it, for here, then how are you going to go do that on your own?
Yeah, look, and so look, I would tell somebody this, like if you think that you want to go out and grow your business and start your own business, and you have a job right now in a corporate company, or like, dude, you master everything in that company. You learn as much as you possibly can on somebody else's dime, so that when you go out and do your own thing, you're as prepared as possible. Like I would think that would be the logical thing to do. Like we know we're not going to keep everybody here.
Yeah.
We know that people are going to come and go, and we're going to invest a lot in training them and giving them access to an environment that can be a big major catalyst in their life. We know we're not going to keep everybody. So we get people in here, we get as much as we possibly can from them. If they're on board and they're lifers, good. We give them a role, we give them a track, and we allow them to grow into the company and with the company. And for the other people, like, dude, I hope people come here and learn as much as they possibly can. So if they ever do leave, which most of them will, that they're better off than when they came here, and they know more, and they're capable of more, and they think more. And I don't think that there's one person that we've had here, no matter what the circumstances, that's left and not been incrementally, dramatically better than when they came.
Yeah, I can't even imagine. Someone would have to come there completely. I mean,
any role, dude.
Yeah.
Shipping, customer service, accounting. Like, we have an environment where people just come here and they change for the better.
They get better.
No matter what the circumstances are, when they leave, they're capable of more when they leave than when they came. And so, like, you know, I think the idea of the entrepreneur and owning your own business is way overrated. I think that there's a lot of businesses that operate inefficiently because people get lured into entrepreneurship thinking that it's something that it's not.
Yeah.
And the you know, the laptop lifestyle, and, you know, you're your own boss and all that.
It's not real.
It sounds endearing, but dude, I make more money working for somebody else than 99% of CEOs of companies.
I hate.
So it's,
yeah. Go ahead.
You know, it's just like you have to decide what you really want. And do you want to be an entrepreneur because you want to work from 10 to 2 every day? Or do you want to be an entrepreneur because some people they physically can't be an employee. Like Grant cannot be an employee.
That's me.
But yeah, he couldn't be an employee. He had to do his own thing because that's just not his personality type. And so I think everybody has to be aware enough to know who they are, how they plug into a company, or if they don't, and what their true motivations are. And it really requires some very honest self-talk and figuring out like what you want. And I wish that I could have gotten to a place earlier in life where I could really figure some of this stuff out for myself. And because I think I'd be further along than I am right now and certainly if I would have skipped the 6 years in my 20s that I was a dumbass, I'd be way further along. And I'm sure you probably have a similar story and would be further along as well.
Oh, so. Yeah. Your 6 years is 10 years for me. I was a dumbass for 10 years, and I woke up one day and said no more. And it's the same reason why my partner said, where I'm at in life, I set in a pretty good position in life with a lot of opportunity ahead of me. And I'm like, dude, I feel so far behind. Like, I couldn't even enjoy my birthday or, breakfast because I'm just like, I'm not happy. I shouldn't say I'm not happy. I'm not happy with where I'm at.
But you know that there's so much more potential.
Yeah, I regret the wasted years. So I know we're coming up on our time. I'm going to do a quick lightning round of the young hustler advice. Okay,
yeah.
Just a few quick questions. If you're making $80,000 a year and you feel like you're broke, what should you do to get unbroken to invest? Like, how does a person who's making $80,000 a year with kids, without kids, they live this consumer lifestyle and they feel like they're always broke, but $80,000 a year is nothing to, shake a stick at, right? That's not like $25,000.
The first thing is you have to know that $80,000 a year is nothing.
Nothing.
Like, it's enough to give you the illusion that you're okay. Even in Dallas, Texas, $80,000 a year, you can buy a house, you can have cars, you're not scraping to put a meal on the plate, you can take a vacation every now and then. But dude, $80,000 is no money. If the industry you're in gets whacked, like if you have an unexpected illness in the family, if something happens at $80,000 a year, you are in danger. Like, if you make $80,000 a year and you're a single, and that's the only income of the household, over 10 years, you might have $100,000 in the bank or $50,000 in the bank, and that could get wiped out with one event.
So what does a person do? What do they start investing?
Focus everything you possibly can on increasing your income.
Okay.
Like, you have to look at the opportunity that you're in right now and figure out, what can I do to go from $80,000 to 120 or 150?
Okay.
Is it even possible? Like you need to figure out, like, when I go in, I'm like, to a company, people are like, hey, how do I know if this is a good opportunity or not? I said, go in, find out who's making the most money, and go in. And so if a company's saying, hey, yeah, you can make 200 grand here, make sure that you can see somebody in that company that's getting close to that, so that you know that the opportunity is real. And then you got to invest all of your attention, all of your energy, all of your resources into increasing your income. When you kind of are reaching the upper limits, you have kind of a decision to make. Find something that you can use to take your supplement income and park into like a passive investment that'll grow and provide you with additional cash flow, while you maybe are moving from a sales management position into a senior management position, or maybe an executive position. Like your money is going to work for you. Or you reach the top of an organization as far as you can get, then you got to look for another opportunity that's going to take you incrementally to that next level. And so, but 80 grand a year is not enough. Nowhere near enough. I think for people to have any type of security, they need to get to the 300-400 grand a year level, which is still not a lot of money. But if you can maintain that for 10 years and you're smart with your money and you're investing most of it and not being a knucklehead and buying cars and watches, then I think you can position yourself to be in a pretty strong financial position.
Okay, so what's the single most important thing a listener that's listening to the RFN podcast do from all that Cardone offers that will change their life? The 10X rule, reading that book one time changed my life. Getting the sticker that no negativity allowed, those two things, just like, okay, they changed my life, okay, dramatically. So of all the different products you guys offer, what's the single most important thing that the listener can do that you guys offer?
I would say that, you need to start with the 10X rule, or Be Obsessed or Be Average. I think Be Obsessed or Be Average probably should be the second book that you read. But the 10X rule should be first. Be Obsessed or Be Average, because they open your mind to what is possible and what you should be doing. And then you need to drop into Cardone U,
okay,
and start building the skills and the tactics. Because when you say, hey, I make 80 grand a year and I need to go to 150 or 200, almost always the only way to do that is going to be through producing something, meaning selling something.
Yep.
And sales is freedom. Sales equals choices. Sales allows you to go to levels that the best entrepreneurs, the best business people, the people that make all the money, they're all salespeople of some sort.
Agreed.
And so, yeah, that.
All right, one last question, then I'm going to let you go. What are you personally focused on this year to be better than last year? UJG.
Is a person or in the business?
So I think in all. So if it's personally, because all of it kind of goes together. If you got problems at home and you need to focus on that will help your business, or if you got stuff at the business, just for you, what is the one single most important thing that you're focused on to be better than last year? Can be personal or business.
Every year, and so for me, the reason I asked that question is because for me, the answer is 10X.
Okay.
Like, I need to be better at 10X. And for me, if I say I need to be better at 10X, that means I need to be better with my health. That means I need to be better with my wife. That means I need to be better as a father. That means I need to be better in business. That means I need to be better spiritually. Like, for me, that really, like, I see all of those things as the same. And when I say, like, I need to be 10X, I need to be more 10X, it means I need to be more of all those things.
Yeah, you're striving to just, and it never all aligns at one time, really. I mean, you want it to, but it just never does. But as long as you're striving for 10X in every one of those areas, then, pretty solid ground, I would imagine.
Yeah, dude, if you shoot for the stars and you get to the moon, like you're light years beyond everybody else.
Okay, man, we have spent quite a bit of time together. I know it's 3:30. I want to be mindful of you, your time. Thank you so much. This has been awesome. I want to first congratulate you on all your success professionally. It looks like Sandy, your wife, is killing it with all her stuff, right? That's another way to kind of reach your dreams. If you're married, if you got a partner, help support them in going and finding their gift and their own version of killing it. And, being a new dad and just living your best life, man. I see you out there. We don't get to keep in touch as much, but, I can see you're visible out there to the real world. And I just want to say congratulations for all of that, dude.
Yeah, I really appreciate that coming from you. And we've been on this road together for a while, and I think we're both much further along now than we were when we started. And so it's probably been 6 or 7 years. And so 6 or 7 years from now, it'll be interesting to look back and see where we're at then.
Yeah, we'll do a redo on this in 6 or 7 years. So where can people find you online, social media, all that stuff?
At Jarrod Glandt, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, just Jarrod Glandt, JarrodGlandt. You'll probably have it in the title somewhere. But connect with me. Love to make connections with everybody out there.
Right on. Go see Jarrod. Go get the 10X rule. It'll change your life. And then, like Jarrod said, after that, go to Cardone U. The 10X will open your mind to this thinking, bigger thinking, and the Cardone University will give you the practical, the tactical skills to go make it all happen, right?
Yep. That's right.
Awesome, brother. Have a great day. Thank you so much. Tell everybody over there at Cardone U, Mike B, and everybody else, I said what's up.
For sure, brother. You got it. Appreciate your time.
Thanks, Jarrod.
All right, later.